Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever and wherever you are. This is Lee. Hold on one second. I'm going to turn down this light. Art here. We are talking with IDDHIE. Say hello, IDDHIE.
Hello.
And IDDHIE is 15 and he lives in Sri Lanka, a long way from me. He had therapy for a year. They taught him to slow down and skip the first letter, and that, of course, helps. That's one of the many elements of our program, and it's a good idea. He has read the third edition, which reduced his stuttering by 60%. He joined Speech Anxiety Cure, and you watched my videos on the book, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes, you did. And we began Skyping, and that was late last summer, and it's now November 30th. And at the time that we started, he was having quite a few bad incidents at home. He wasn't going out because of COVID issues. Um, by October, he wasn't having bad incidents at home. And he reported in late October that he hadn't had a bad incident in several weeks. The same thing in early November, but he noted that he wasn't going out. So I had asked him to, if he couldn't go out, to make phone calls on any pretense to friends or even strangers, possibly talking about products they're offering or whatever. And so he began doing that. And on November 9th, he said his last bad incident was 5 weeks ago, but he still wasn't going out. Same reason, but school was starting soon. So I urged him to, he would be testing himself, of course, talking to students at school and so forth. And he reported in mid-November, a couple of weeks ago, that his speech was fine with the students. He wasn't talking in class yet, but that was definitely progress. So here we are now, the end of November. So it's time for him to answer a few questions for us. Um, since we last talked, have you continued to be talking with students at school?
Yes.
And have you has your speech been fine?
Yeah.
Good. And have you created any opportunities to talk in class?
No.
Well, why not? Because we did talk about that. Can't you raise your hand and ask a question or make a comment? Can you do, you got to do that.
Oh,
You look,
yeah.
you can't look, Eddie, if you wanted to build muscles and I was a weight coach and you came to me and I said, "Listen, Eddie, you got to go to the gym and curl the weights and lift the weights and here are the exercises you need to do." And you said, "Okay, right." And then we got together 2 weeks later, and I said, "Have you been to the gym?" And you said, "No." What can I do? How can I help you if you don't do that? How can I help? If you don't go to the gym and curl the weights, how are you going to make any progress? You got to you got to curl a weight to build the muscle, right? You got to talk under pressure with a light weight, not a lot of pressure until that's comfortable, and then you expand it. You talk a little more under a little more pressure. You got to create the pressure situations. I can't do it for you. You're you're treading water. You're doing, obviously your speech is a lot better than it was before you read my book, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so when you're, do you feel nervous when you're talking to other students, or are you pretty much okay with it at this point?
Sometimes I feel nervous.
Sometimes you do. And when you feel pressure, what do you do about it?
So I just use a crutch if I need to and just say what I need to say.
Okay. And does that take care of the pressure?
Yeah,
Good. And it will. And the more you talk to them, and the more it'll take care of the pressure, and the easier it'll get until it doesn't matter at all. It's a non-event. It's exposure without injury that teaches us that it's fine. It's all okay. Now, what 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 are you going to do about talking in class? How am I going to get you to go to the gym? What can I do?
well, uh, we have like a student to give like a speech in front of the class every day. So I can like volunteer to do a speech
All
in
right,
the
that would be
morning.
good. But I mean, in the normal course of the class, doesn't the teacher sometimes ask questions to the students?
Yeah,
And can't you raise your hand? Don't you know the answer sometimes?
yeah, sometimes.
And can't you raise your hand when you know the answer?
Yeah,
Okay, you got to do that. You don't have to give a long answer. You can give a short answer, but you just need to. You just need again. You just got to lift the weight. That's what makes it easy. That's what makes the pressure go away. Now, are you doing your mind training before you go to sleep and when you get up?
yes,
How many affirmations do you have now?
10,
And how many times do you say them?
uh, 15 times or
Should do
sometimes
20.
20.
Should do 20. 20 is the minimum. 20 is the minimum. You got to do the minimum. And um, are you playing your recordings at all?
Yeah, I play it when I'm going to sleep.
Good. And that's got to help. How about your reading aloud? Are you still reading aloud?
Yeah,
Good. How much are you reading aloud?
uh, 30, 40 minutes every day.
Okay. And are you reading aloud with feeling?
Yeah,
Okay. I want you to prove it to me. Pull up my reading material.
okay.
And the first paragraph says, reading aloud has become a true joy for me. Um, read me that paragraph with as much feeling as you can muster.
Reading aloud has become a true joy for me. I seize any excuse to do it, especially to read aloud to others. Perhaps I'm a thespian at heart. Regardless, I love doing it. And, no surprise, it continues to improve my speech because when we read aloud, we invariably hear our own voice at its best. As we read aloud with feeling, we constantly improve our focus on our message and the positive emotions with which we deliver it.
That was wonderful. Really, seriously, that was absolutely terrific. Not only did you pause or have a full stop at all your punctuation points, your commas and your periods, but you injected a few other stops, giving the reader a break, giving the reader a chance to, or the listener, a chance to understand what you're saying and hear you and absorb it. You give the reader a chance. And you also put considerable feeling in it. And guess what? You didn't fear one word you said, did you?
No.
No, you didn't. And you never will, as long as you invest yourself in what you say, what you read, and what you say. You can raise your hands in class and say the same thing. You can do it with feeling there too. When I read it, it seemed to me to say blah, 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 blah. You, you jump in the water, you jumped in the water and you swam. You jumped all the way in the pool and you swam. You didn't put one foot in there and dangle it around. You jumped in the water. That was really, really good. That's all speaking is. The same commitment that you made to what you read is the same commitment that you need to make to what you say when you say it. And when you do, you not only won't stutter, you can't stutter. Your mind is absorbed in what you're doing. There is no room for interference by a dying habit called stuttering. You're overpowering it. You're winning the arm contest. Bang. You're putting the stutter guy down. Bang. Just like that. And it's easy. It's easy. What you're adding to the crutches is the word commitment. You're committing yourself to your message. That guarantees fluency. Anywhere, anytime, audience irrelevant. Irrelevant. You can introduce yourself, and every professor in the school that's sitting behind you onto the mic at the largest auditorium with everybody there, and you can enjoy every second of doing it. Commitment. Commitment. Commit to what you're doing. Speaking. Anything you're doing. If it's worth doing, it's worth committing yourself to do it. If you were playing tennis or golf or basketball or tiddlywinks, whatever it is you're doing, commit yourself to doing it. Or don't bother to do it. Speaking is no exception. When you speak, commit yourself to doing it. Show feelings. You're not a robot. You're not a mannequin. You're a living, breathing person with warm blood in your veins. You're alive. Share it. Let your positive emotions out. Your negative emotions need to be cleaned up and converted into something at least neutral, if not positive, before you let them out. But your other emotions, your positive emotions, which is what dominate, that's what you need to let out with feeling and enjoy it. Celebrate it. Celebrate your speech. Celebrate your commitment. Celebrate what you have to say. It'll make you more interesting. It'll make everyone like you more. And it'll make you happier. And speech, stuttering will never enter into the picture. You can't, it can't. The minute you commit, the way you just did in reading that, when you make that commitment, you're done. We read aloud to teach ourselves, to hear ourselves, how good we speak. You speak really, really well. I'll bet you no one in your class could read that as well as you did. I doubt it. If there is one, they're not going to read it any better. That's who you are. That's who you've made yourself. Life is not about finding ourselves. It's about creating the person we want to be. Is one of your affirmations, when I speak, calm floods my body?
Yeah.
Good. That's a good one. When you say calm floods my body, say that. When I speak,
When I speak,
calm floods my body.
calm floods my body.
From the top of my head to the tip of my toe.
From the top of my head to the tip of my toe.
Through my face, calm goes.
Through my face, calm goes.
And through my chest, calm goes.
And through my chest, calm goes.
And through my hips, calm goes.
And through my hips, calm
And
goes.
through my legs, calm goes.
And through my legs, calm goes.
Calm floods my entire body.
Calm floods my entire body.
I feel so peaceful.
I feel so peaceful.
Okay, answer me some questions and let's continue with this commitment to speaking. How much you enjoy it. You're speaking to me the same way you were reading to me, with lots of feelings, clarity, full stops, and you're enjoying it. So much fun. Okay. In the average day, how many times, if any, do you think negatively about your speech?
Maybe about 3-4 times a day.
And how long do those negative thoughts last?
Uh, Not more than 5-10 minutes.
Okay. And when you have them, what do you do about them?
Uh, I just ignore them. I don't know.
Ah, ignoring is better than dwelling on them, but it's not good enough. Um, what should you do?
Mm.
Counter them with positive, contrary affirmations. Give me an example of a negative thought you might have on speech. What might it be?
Well, that I will stutter badly when I'm speaking to my
But you
teachers.
know that's not true. You know that that does not ever have to happen. You can use crutches and say anything. You may not give a long You're not going to talk in a continuum. You're going to talk in short increments. When you're under pressure, what is your speech plan?
Less link and stop.
Okay. And so when you have these negative thinking, I mean, when you're forced to speak under pressure, you're forced to speak. Someone comes up behind you in school and taps on your shoulder, and you turn around, and it's the principal. And he says, he asked you some questions. Well, immediate panic. He's a big, important person, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter to you, but it does at the moment. It's still. So when you turn around and see this person, what should pop into your mind is less, link, and stop. Does it?
Uh, Sometimes it does.
It's got to all the time though. That means you need to do it more. You need to practice it more. You need to look, you can't build the weights again unless you curl them. You've got to do it. And you're the one who said, well, a month or more ago, you were fluent at home, but you weren't going out, so you weren't really testing it under fire, so to speak. Though when you and I met, you were stuttering at home, which you no longer do. But we solved it in that venue. But look, there's nothing physical about you that means that you can be fluent at home and not fluent somewhere else. I mean, if you're fluent one place, you can be fluent anywhere. It's the same. It's all the same. It's all the same. The only difference is the way you think about it. And if you choose to think about it in a positive way, it's all the same. But you should you should practice less link and stop more when you don't need it. You need it to be sharp, razor sharp. You need to and using it makes it sharp. Now, but you should also counter every negative thought. You say 5 or 10 minutes. That's a long time. You're allowing yourself to think that kind of thinking for 5 or 10 minutes. Um, 3 to 4 times a day. That's 15 to 30 minutes a day. And every time you have one of those thoughts, what should you say back? What should you say to yourself under your breath or out loud if you're alone? What should you say?
My affirmations.
Yes, give me an example. What should you say? I'm a negative thought. You can't speak. You're going to have a terrible time. What do you say to me?
I love to speak, and
Ah,
when I speak, calm floods my body.
there you go. And you can repeat them fast. I love to speak. I love to speak. I love to speak. When I speak, calm floods my body. When I speak, calm floods my body. And say them, just keep saying them to yourself. And you can say them under your breath if there are people around, or you can say them in a whisper. I love to speak. I love to speak. I love to speak. When I speak, calm floods my body. Drown the negative thought in a flood of affirmations that you can do. Look, you have to do this in order to kill what's left of the stutter habit. It's still hanging in there, dancing around in the back of your mind, or you wouldn't be having 3 or 4 times a day negative thoughts about your speech. Now, all right, say after me, we have free choice
We have free choice
to accept or reject thoughts.
to accept or reject thoughts.
Nothing compels us to think anything
Nothing compels us to think anything
except our own desires.
accept our own desires.
So use your mental switch
So use your mental switch
and dictate your thoughts.
and dictate your thoughts.
Believe that you can improve,
Believe that you can improve,
and you will.
and you will.
Do you believe that?
Yes,
You've got to believe it. It is absolute truth, and it is a great truth, and it presents a great opportunity for you. But it says use your mental switch and dictate your thoughts. But when you have a negative thought, oh, I gotta talk, I'm nervous about that. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I love to speak, I love to speak, I love to speak, I love to speak. You gotta be an aggressive fighter. You can't just roll over and take the blows this from a negative source. Self-defense, you get to fight. No other reason. And you're defending yourself from a negative habit. That's what you're doing. You're defending yourself from a negative habit. But you've got to do it. Nobody can do it for you. And if you don't do it, you're conceding, in a sense, the reality of the problem. It's still there. No, it isn't. You know how to beat it. You do beat it all the time. You beat it all the time at home. You beat it with me. You beat it here. You beat it there. Now you're beating it with students in the hallway at school. But the way you read to me, didn't you enjoy reading to me the way you just did that?
yes,
Well, you should, because you did it beautifully. Eddie, that's who you are, mate. You got to accept it. You got to reinforce it. You got to insist on it. You got to demand your what is your just desserts. You're hurting no one. You're helping people. Speaking fluently, it's a positive thing. So the word I would like you to really work on is the word commitment. I would like you to, when you speak, think, commit yourself to to maximum expression. Be as positive as you can be. Allow your emotions, push your emotions to convey positive feelings. Push your emotions. Focus on speaking the way you read. Do you realize that you could read aloud? If you went to class today and they called on you to read aloud, do you realize that you can read aloud the same way in school you do to me?
yes,
And do you realize that when you do that, you're going to be, in all likelihood, the best reader in your class? Do you realize that?
yes,
It's a fact. And you got to prove it. You got to relish, welcome the opportunities to speak and read aloud. And I think you should have an affirmation that says, I will speak the way I read aloud. I will speak the way I read aloud. Let's find an affirmation that we can substitute for that one. What is the affirmation that speaks to you the least? Do you want to read them to me or what?
mm, I don't know.
You don't know. I will speak. Well, I guess then add it. I don't like to go to 11, but I will. Make it number 10 and make today I'll make a happy day the last one. That should always be the last one. So put it right ahead of that one. I will speak the way I read aloud. And when you say these affirmations, Eddie, you should say them the way you read aloud to me, with the same kind of feeling. The more feeling you put into what you read aloud, and the and then the more that you carry that feeling forward into when you speak, that's that's the last step in the first hurdle for you. Um, I want you to volunteer in class. I want you to raise your hand and ask questions. Volunteer to give a talk. Um, but first of all, let's get our hand up and ask a few questions or volunteer an answer when you know it. Um, he or she will call on you for the simple reason that in the past you haven't raised your hand. He or she will be surprised that you're raising your probably if it's a teacher you've had before. So, have you ever had a super embarrassing speech experience in class?
Yes,
Yeah, I have too. How long ago was it?
2 years.
Okay. And if you use our crutches, if you will less link and stop under pressure, we might say to you, your emergency plan, we might add the words with passion. Less link and stop with passion. What do you think? Would that help?
Yeah,
Less link
yeah,
and stop dash with passion. Because you're showing me feelings when you're reading aloud. Um, I mean, look, I can show you more feeling than you're showing, but you're showing more feeling, and when you read to me, than 9 out of 10 people would show. 9 out of 10, if not 99 out of 100. Um, you showed more. Could you do more? Yes, you could. But um, all I'm saying is the more you commit to read in a positive, think about reading in an exciting way. How exciting can you make what you read? And then the question is, how exciting can you make what you say? And you did a lot. You really did a lot. I think you're capable of doing even more, but you did a lot. And some of it, I might do it, and you might say, well, that's too over the top. That's too extreme. I would feel like an oddball being that positive or excited or whatever. But believe me, your teacher wouldn't think so. And really, the students wouldn't either. They would say this is very unusual. This guy he's all in. Reading aloud has become a true joy for me. I seize any excuse to do it, especially to read aloud to others. Perhaps I am a thespian at heart. Regardless, I love doing it. And no surprise, it continues to improve my speech because when we read aloud, we invariably hear our voice at its best. As we read aloud with feeling, we constantly improve our focus on our message and the positive emotions with which we deliver it. Was that too extreme?
No,
It wasn't. Don't hold back. You not only can be the you can the goal is, as I keep saying, it's not to beat other people. The goal is to be the best you can be. That is always your goal. And where you rank, don't worry about it. You'll always rank well, good enough. You'll always be good enough for whatever it is you're trying to do. When you put out your best, you'll always be good enough to reach any reasonable goals you set. But you got to put out your best. And that's when you read aloud the same thing too. And if you're, I mean, most people reading aloud, they're terrible. Reading aloud has become a true joy for me. I see an excuse to do it, especially to read aloud to others. Perhaps I'm a thespian at heart. What's that? Garbage. And that's the way most people are going to do it. Something like that. They're just trying to finish. No, no, that's not what you're doing. You're trying to communicate with passion and emotion in a positive way that's fun for you and fun for the reader or listener. And it is. They'll get every word you say. And when they're given a test, they'll know more about what you read than what anybody else read because of the way you did it. You can use the same passion when you order a hamburger and french fries and onion rings for lunch. Oh, let me see. I'll have the delicious hamburger, medium rare, and with french fries and some ketchup, please. Why not? May I? Yes, you may. Thank you so much. Be a little bit of a character. So what? I think I've told you before that when I was your age, I used to be a singer, and for some years thereafter. And I was sung on the stage a lot. I never stuttered when I sung. And I remember at one point I had a singing teacher, very brief period of time, and he said, Lee, you gotta be an extreme example of yourself, mate. And that's what I'm saying to you. Let yourself out. You're fine. You have nothing to hide. You got a lot of good stuff to share. Let it out. Participate. Everybody will enjoy it more. You'll bring life to the party, life to the gathering. Something interesting. Just let yourself out. There's zero risk. And if anybody ever make fun when you're a passionate speaker, they're jealous. They're too lazy to do it themselves. They didn't realize how much it works. Don't be ashamed to be the best or better than other people, even though that's not your goal. It may be a result of your goal, but it's not the goal. And your goal is not to influence other people's opinions of you. Your goal is to improve, is to change your opinion of yourself. That's the toughest opinion to get, a good opinion of yourself. And you get that by doing your best in everything you do and being a loving person. Okay. Um, so we added an affirmation. I will speak the way I read aloud. I will speak. Say this. I will speak the way I read aloud.
I will speak the way I read aloud.
Bravo. Exactly. And when you have negative thoughts of your speech during the day, what are you going to do now?
I counter them with positive affirmations.
Exactly. Last question. How many words out of the average 10 words that you say do you think and worry about before you say them? How many, if any?
Less than one.
Good. That's good. Our goal is zero, obviously, but that's good. All right, look, you got your assignment, and so I'll see you. I'll see you next week. Um, I love the way you read aloud today, mate. I'm really proud of you. But you got to do it all the time. Okay, you got to carry that same commitment. That's your word, commitment to positive emotions. Okay,
Okay,
carry that with you, mate. I'll see you next week.
see you.
Don't get lost.